A relatively small delegation compared to who attended the district convention in Niagara Falls, but still Jamaica was very well represented. West St. Andrew was there, downtown Kingston was there, EKPR, Eastern Kingston and Port Royal was there. And obviously, we were very delighted to have our Governor Pam was there, of course, representing Jamaica, as well as Vice President, if I got that title correct, Hope Marks. So that was good to see Jamaicans there represented. And I think having attended that conference and meetings Kiwanians from all over the world, one of the main things that struck me was how well respected and is Jamaica. So most of the times when there were keynote presentations by the International Kiwanis organization, more often than not, there were references to Jamaica and the projects in Jamaica, the clubs in Jamaica, and the impact that Jamaican Kiwanians were making on the global stage. And it made me very proud and appreciative that as a Jamaican, even though there are people from all over the world, the United States, Europe, and all over the world, Africa and so forth, that Jamaica stood tall amongst all of the Kiwanians that were there at the International Convention. So I definitely recommend it as Kiwanians that you definitely attend a district convention or international convention when it comes up. I believe the next international convention is going to be held in Philippines. So that's quite a distance from now, but you can start saving from now. And I'm sure that would be a great experience if you're able to do that in 2026. The other major activity that I do have to share with you is, of course, our fundraising activity. We do have a number of projects that we need to fund our charitable account with, and we look forward to your support. And our next big event is coming up Saturday, July 19th. That's going to be the National Dance Theatre Company, their benefit performance. They open on the 15th, I'm getting my dates mixed up, Friday, July 18th. That's the opening night. And the very next night, which is Saturday, July 19th, we have a benefit performance. Tickets are $4,000. You can buy your tickets through any Kiwanian member, or you can get in touch with myself or DLG Willie Reason. And also, as I mentioned before, if there are other Kiwanian clubs who would like to use this as a fundraising opportunity, we are offering a package where you can sell tickets and get the benefit towards your charitable account. So there's still an opening for other clubs to participate. If they feel they can sell the tickets, please contact DLG Willie in that regard. And we look forward to each and every one of you who is here this evening coming out to enjoy the performance of NDTC. That's on Saturday, July 19th, 2 weeks from now. Other announcements. So let me transition into this evening's main presentation. So we have reflections on the 2025 National Championships, which a lot of you watched, and a lot of you who are into track and field would appreciate the significance of this national championship. On our flyer, we did not indicate the guest panel, and I'd like to share with you just in advance the persons. We have a very esteemed and very recognized and knowledgeable panel that will be sharing their thoughts. It includes Mr. Eric Barrett, who is a former high school track star. We have sports journalist Ricardo Chambers from Sportsmax who will be also participating in the discussion. We have our very own Kiwanian Clovis Metcalf, who I was indicating before is not only a horse racing sportsman, but also is very knowledgeable on track and field and a love of sports also. And we do have our own DP Stewart Spencer, who is quite knowledgeable in this area, but he will be acting as a moderator later on when we have that presentation. So that's what we have this evening. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. Track and field is part of the lifeblood of Jamaica, and national championships is a step towards what may happen in the Olympics and in the National World Athletic Championship, which I think is later this year. And of course, significance because of As Shelley Ann Fraser-Price has indicated, this may be her final championship, and there's rising stars and veteran stars, so lots of exciting things going on there. So with that though, I noticed, let me look online. Yes, we have quite a few Kiwanians who are here, and I'd like to formally welcome them, but I'm going to give that duty to our president designate, Zuri, to do the welcome and introductions for visiting Kiwanians. And over to you, Zuri.
Thank you, President Stephen, and good evening to all persons present on the platform. I know we are in for a very exciting discussion, and track and field is very topical in Jamaica right now. So I'm going to try to keep the welcome as brief as possible. So I'm going to say welcome one and all to our meeting, and I'd like to extend a special welcome to our panelists this evening, Mr. Eric Barrett, Mr. Ricardo Chambers, and Kiwanian Clovis Metcalf. So our president would have already given you some details about these gentlemen, so I won't repeat that. I'll just say to them, welcome to our meeting, and that we do look forward to what it is that you will be sharing with us this evening. And with that said, I'm going to now open the floor to our Kiwanians online and invite you to bring us greetings. So open your microphone, share with us where you are joining us from, and just say who you are so we can acknowledge you. So I'm going to start with Kiwanis clubs outside of Jamaica, if we do have any Kiwanis clubs on the platform outside of Jamaica. All right, so let's move to Division 25. Do we have any Kiwanis clubs online joining from Division 25?
Yes, good evening. This is DP Denzel from the Kiwanis Club of Outer Many, Western Jamaica. There are 4 of us online, and I'm expecting others to join, and we look forward to a great evening with you.
Thank you, DP Denzel, and welcome to you and your delegation. And we are indeed happy that you could join us this evening. Do we have any other clubs from Division 25? All right, so let's make our way to Division 24. All right, let's move to Division 23 East. We make the turn with Division 23 West.
23 East, President Designate Zuri. Good
Okay.
night, and thank you very much for inviting us. We're looking forward to an exciting evening. This is DP Herman from 23 East from Kiwanis Club of New Kingston, and we have 7 of us online so far.
Welcome, DP Herman. And I was told that there is a special role that you hold this evening as well, as the wife of one of our presenters. So we welcome you in your capacity as DP and in that capacity as well.
Thank you, President.
You're very welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is DS Director Terry Ann from the Kiwanis Club of Pepin. There are 2 of us online at this time, and we are hoping to enjoy your little forum and learn something. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome, and thanks for joining. And we hope that you will share in the panel discussion as much as possible as well.
As much as possible.
Do we have any other Kiwanis clubs in Division 23 East? So we're making the bend to Division 23 West. All right, so let's go to the home stretch, Division 23 Central.
Good evening. This is PVP Mark, representing the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew. I think I might be the only one on this evening as of now. I look forward to interesting conversation about athletics. Thank you.
You're welcome, PVP. Thanks for joining, and I'm sure it will be very interesting. Any other Kiwanis clubs from Division 23 Central? All right, do we have any SLP members online? Do we have any other guests of Kiwanians who are joining us this evening? Well, President Stephen, it seems we have crossed the finish line, not in 9.58 seconds, but we have done it in a fast enough pace. So again,
Yes.
I'll just close by saying welcome to everyone and enjoy the discussion. And I'll now hand back over to President Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, President-designate Zuri. Everybody's anxious to hear the real meat of the matter. So thank you and welcome again on behalf of the club to each and every one of you. In terms of apologies for absence, we do have an apology for our treasurer, Orville Lewis, who is unable to attend because he's off the island. DLG Willie, is there anybody else that has given a formal apology?
Yes, we have an apology from DLG Desmond Batcher. He's a 10-year past lieutenant government council meeting. They're looking at the date and time for the upcoming council meeting. I think it's sometime in August, early August.
Okay. All right, duly noted. I'm now going to transition to DP Newton. If there's any person who's celebrating a birthday or a special anniversary at this time.
Thank you, President Stephen. And I am definitely going to be faster than PD Zuri.
Yes.
So this afternoon from the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, we have past director Gladstone Mallet, who celebrates his birthday on the 1st, that is today. Today also happens to be the anniversary of DLGE, Trevor Christian and Carol. So those are the two for today. On the 7th of this month, we also have a double. We have DP Gian Demel celebrating his birthday, and we also have DP Major Richard Reese celebrating his birthday. So DP Gian and DP Richard both celebrate on the 7th. At this point, I'm going to ask anyone who is here to listen to these sports enthusiasts who is celebrating any special occasion this week to just open your microphone and share with us so we can celebrate with you. Anyone?
Yeah, DP Newton, DLGE Trevor Christian is on the call.
Okay, DLG Trevor. Happy anniversary to you and Carol, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Tomorrow, only 59.
Okay. Well, I hope you remembered before. No, I hope you remembered this morning.
Oh, yes. It's tomorrow, you know.
All right. Give her all love for us.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, DLG.
Good.
Okay. Anyone else online celebrating any special occasion? Okay. Well, it's back to you. Back to you, President Stephen.
Thank you, DP Newton. Happy birthday to and special congratulations to each and every one of those persons. Now we're going to move to Kiwanis Education, and we have none other than our DLG Willie Reeson, who is going to do Kiwanis Education for this evening. Over to you, DLG Willie.
Thank you, President Stephen. In tandem with the meeting, I'm going to keep it as short. But before I do a little Kiwani's education on international district obligations, I'm just going to add to your opening remarks regarding the International Convention in terms of the results of elections of those of us on the call who are not familiar. As you know, Michael Mulhall was elected president. He's from New Jersey State. And Hope Marks of our own Hope Marks was elected president-elect during the House of Delegates. And Kathy Szymanski of Erie, Pennsylvania was elected vice president. There were one or two amendments. There was a proposed amendment on language cleanup and district submission. This was submitted by the Kiwanis International Board. This amendment would clarify the current language in the Kiwanis International bylaws, requiring districts to be in good standing to submit resolution. With the rewording, districts and clubs also can better understand the deadline for submissions of resolutions. The other amendment of concern was remote voting for Kiwanis International business. This was not approved. This was submitted by the Capital District Board, and this amendment was submitted to provide for candidate nominations and initial review of proposed amendments and resolutions at Kiwanis International Convention, with final voting via secure remote voting. All right, I'm just going to, all right, this evening, Kiwanis Education is on international district obligation. This is taken from the standard form for club bylaw. Article 15, Section 1 states that the club shall exercise fully the privileges and rights of membership in Kiwanis International, and the district shall discharge promptly all obligations imposed by Kiwanis International and the district. Section 2. The Board of Directors shall provide for the prompt review, approval, and forwarding of all reports required by Kiwanis International or the district. Section 3. The Board of Directors shall provide for the prompt payment of all dues and other obligations to Kiwanis International or the district. Section 4. President and President designate shall act as club delegates to the International District Convention. Section 5 refers in the event the President designate is unable to attend the district or international convention, the club should also elect alternate delegates. You notice that section weighted heavily on the attendance of our president or presidents of the respective club to be at international and where possible district convention. And lastly, Section 6. Delegates and alternates to all conventions or other meetings of Kiwanis International or the district shall be elected at dates sufficiently in advance of such meetings to comply with the Kiwanis International bylaws and district bylaws. Provision for expenses of such representatives shall be made in the club administrative budget. The Board of Directors should also provide for the proper representation at any other international district meetings of Kiwanis in which this club has the privilege of participation. Fellow Kiwanis and guests, that's our Kiwanis education for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DLG Willie. Congratulations also to all those members of the new administration of Kiwanis International. If you'd like more information, just go on the Kiwanis International website and you'll see the new president and his board of trustees, and including president designate our own from Jamaica, Hope Marks. So that's quite an achievement for us as Jamaicans and for Miss Marks also. Wow. DP Stewart, your microphone is
sorry to hear that. Okay, thanks.
I hear DP Stewart is still on the call. All right. So we're going to now move to our main event, which is a discussion about a reflection on the national championships. the track and field championships in light of all of the things that are happening recently. Some athletes who changed allegiance. We have Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, and those are just the main headlines. But I'm sure there are quite a few sub stories, I shouldn't call them sub stories, other stories of what's going on with track and field. And who better to highlight some of those stories that we may not be aware of than our own DP Stewart Spencer, who's a track and field aficionado, and to take over this part of the meeting. So I'm going to hand over to you, DP Stu.
Thank you, President Stephen. Is everybody hearing me okay?
We're hearing you and seeing you quite fine.
Okay. Thank you. Just got a call from one of our panelists, that's Ricardo Chambers, and he apparently is coming in from the country, and based on the timing, he doesn't think he's gonna be able to make it. Although if he gets home early enough and we're still on, then he would still join. So we're gonna proceed anyway, because one of the things I wanted as an objective this evening is that I really wanted to encourage more audience participation. So it was never gonna be just the panelists. But let me just welcome first of all the ones that we have. Eric Barrett, he's on, and our own Clovis Metcalf, he's on. So we're gonna get going, and if Ricardo is able to join us, then he will. Okay, the fellow Kiwanians and guests, as you all know, for 4 days last week, well, one of the days was this week, which was Sunday. We had our national championships. People call it the trials, but the official name is really the Jamaica's National Championship. And it's used as a basis for selecting the team for whichever major athletic event is coming up in that particular year. This year we have the World Championships in Osaka, in Japan. And this is really the team is gonna, and Jamaica is a very simple method. We have kind of followed the roots of the USA, that although we give ourselves a little flexibility when needed, but it is seldom exercised, where the top 3 in any event are the ones who qualify. However, not everybody who is in the top 3, when I say qualifies to be on the team or qualifies as a possible member of the team. There's another hurdle that they have to undergo, and that hurdle is they have to meet a particular standard for the actual meet. For example, in an event, let's say take the discus. World Athletics might say we only want 36 people. We can only accommodate 36 people. I'm not saying that's the actual amount for this event, but I'm just using that as an example. And what they do, they set a standard. Now they set a standard which is high enough so that 36 people will never meet the standard. And then let's suppose 12 people meet the standard. It doesn't mean that only those 12 people will go. What it means is that those 12 will go, but then afterwards they will pick the next best ones based on the ranking to make up the 36. So even some people who right now who have not made the standard to go to the World Championships, they could still be on the team. However, in certain events, it is very unlikely that if you don't make the standard, you would have a chance of getting into that number. So for example, in 100 meters where you have a lot of people running under 10 seconds or under the qualification time, if you don't make the standard, you're not gonna go. So I'm just suggesting that in some events you have a better chance. So having said that, that's as a precursor in terms of the relationship between what we call the trials and the event coming up later. Now, another thing that's different this year is that the World Championships is gonna be in September. It's usually sometime in August. So it's roughly a month later than traditionally. Than is the tradition. Now, I remember there was a big debate about whether Jamaica should have pushed back their trial date or the championship date by a month, so that the gap between the championships and the main event would be roughly, the same. The J3As did not do that. And there was lobbying from MVP, as I remember them specifically, and a couple others, where some people were saying we should push back the date. The USA, for example, has pushed back their date, because normally, if you remember, we usually have our trials, most of them at the same time. They have pushed back theirs, so they're going to be having their trials in August. Okay, having said that as a preamble, I want to invite our panelists to give me in 2 to 3 minutes their first impressions of what took place, over the championships, during the championships. But I want them to give me specifically one particular, including that 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, one particular thing I'm going to ask. I want you to tell me what was the most impressive performance. Now, I'm going to define impressive for you so that there's no ambiguity as to what I mean by impressive, because that could be subjective. By impressive, I'm defining it as a superlative performance, but one which you were not expecting. Because if you were expecting it, then it may not be as impressive to you. So that's how I'm defining impressive. Okay? So I'm going to go with Clovis first. Clovis, you have 2 to 3 minutes to give me your overall impressions of the meet, but I want you to include what you consider to be the most impressive performance. You go first.
All right, thank you very much, DP Stewart. Would we be talking later on in terms of favorite moments and disappointments and criticism?
Yes, yes.
Later on or no?
You can throw it in a bit now. You can throw it in. You have 2 to 3 minutes.
First of all, DP Stewart, it would be remiss of me if I didn't say I'm very happy to see you healthy and well, because I believe the last time there were struggles. And
yes.
Subsequently, so DP, welcome back, and we're happy to see you.
Thank you, thank you.
As regards the meet, the championship itself, the national championship, I thought it was a good championship. I was somewhat disappointed with the no-shows of many of the athletes and also the relatively low turnout. So that having been said, let me just say my favorite moment of the meet, or the most exciting, is definitely the performance of Megan Tapper. I saw Megan Tapper do what I never thought should have been, to even beat Akira Nugent. Well, I would never thought of that, but to do the time, she's now among the big girls, and to see her on the turf, just crying with joy, what meant a lot to me. So I thought that was the most exciting.
So you said exciting, but does that qualify as the most impressive performance for you?
Yes, that is the most impressive performance.
Okay, good.
No way would I imagine Megan Tapper doing 12.34 in the hurdles. That was exciting. It was a brilliant performance, most impressive. I expected Kishane Thompson and the other performance, but it was outstanding. Other favorite moments for me really was also this young girl who got injured after leaving school, coming back now and going close to her best, Karika Hill. She did 12.69, and that was good to me. It's good to see the old man, the big boy, Roshan McDonald, now 33, winning so easily among all the others. He really won his race very easily, and that was surprising to me. Another favorite moment for me would be Christopher Taylor coming back from a 2-year suspension and running close to Lavelle, doing 20.28. That to me was a favorite moment. And the last of favorites would be not a senior athlete, but the junior Daniel Clark, who broke the junior record, the world junior record. So that was it. As regards disappointments, the injury to Tia Clayton was heartbreaking. Something happened to Brian Lavelle in his 100 meters that also hurt. Obviously it was injury or something. Other disappointments for me were Brianna Williams, who didn't make the finals, and actually in the 200 she false start. I think also of Ansel Parchment, our senior hurdler, who came sixth and just didn't make the team. And last but not least, Genevieve Russell. She was one of our top 400 hurdlers of all time. And see her just barely making 1 minute in the hurdle. It was really very, very disappointing. In terms of the meet and my criticisms, I think that we held the meet too early. I'm one of those who felt that it was held too early. Secondly, I think I saw there was inconsistency in the decisions made as regards false start, and if I get a chance, I'll speak to that later. And third is, I do not like the subjective nature of the selection. You alluded to it earlier about 3 being selected, but I get the impression that the relay pool will be not based on performance, but selection process, and that is subjective, and that's wrong. So that's my take.
I think they are likely to stick to the top 6 though. I think they just have included the option to pull somebody from a 200 meters. For example, a Lavelle, if he's fit and performing well, he didn't qualify in the 100 meters, but he can sprint. We know he can sprint, and he did win the 200. I don't think it would be I don't think the J3 would want to say we cannot select him for the 4x1 if it turned out that wouldn't be a good decision. So I'm not too worried about the flexibility part in relation to in relation to the relay pool. But we'll see what they do. They'll name the team pretty early in a few more days, I'm sure. You said something about Genevieve Russell. I think she's coming off an injury, so it's. But then she has been around for a while. But I think she has been coming off an injury, so I think that might have had a lot to do with her actual, performance. So I wouldn't call it a disappointment if it is that the reason why she performed like that was to do with her coming off an injury. But anyway, I agreed with pretty much most of what you had to say. I don't mind saying for now, even though I'm gonna ask Eric to go next. But I'll wait until Eric goes. So thank you for those opening remarks. Very much on point. And this is another reason why I definitely said I want you to be on this panel again. So you have demonstrated very much why you are on the panel. Eric, your time. Can you give me your 2 to 3 minutes and include in it what you would consider as the most impressive performance in the way I have defined it?
Okay. All right. Well, thanks and good night all. I think it was a good meet and well organized, as we have now mastered the holding of excellent meets. Clovis basically said it all, right? But what really impressed me though, there are actually two situations. Was Tina Clayton, part of the twin turbo. She did, very good PB, and with all my in sharp, I'm sure she might be on the podium come world champs.
Yeah.
The other thing that impressed me was when Civil had his trauma, and well, all of us had our hands, one thing. Well, will he actually run? But he willed it and he overcome, and that kind of rests well with me. We had a number of good performances. As you had indicated, not everybody who had the top three had made the standard qualifying margin, but I would say that it's quite early, and they do have time.
Yeah.
To really come on. In fact, Sharika said it that she's actually midway. She's midway of her training.
Yes.
So I would imagine that would spread across all areas, and I don't know what had happened to Hudson. For the 200, I didn't see him turn up at all, and I think he would have been one of our prospects. Lavelle and Christopher Taylor, they impressed me. Apart from Kishane, the top three in the 100, it argues well for a very good relay team. And one of the things is that although you qualify, you have to maintain, you have to maintain your level, right? And also the matter of other people being selected, although you're probably in the top 6, the J3 has the option to include other people. You might very well find that within the next couple of months, there is another world beater.
Just give me 1 second, please. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Hello? I'm in the meeting. They're doing a host in the meeting. All right, good. Okay, continue.
I'm not saying that you might find another person really doing quite well to really earn a place in that pool. So I wouldn't, although people are of the opinion that it's supposed to be the top 6, but they have now opened it. All right, and the field events wasn't, a lot of people, we never saw a lot of the athletes turning up. But let's hope that, we'll go out there and bring them the medals. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Eric. Let me touch on one thing that Clovis had mentioned as a follow-up. He mentioned inconsistencies. I think he mentioned the false start. I think he said something about a false start. What I really don't understand, the disqualifications for persons who had a movement, but neither their hands nor their feet had left the ground. As far as the rules that I'm familiar with, that should have been a warning. And so I remember 2 persons being disqualified for that particular kind of offense. And then later in the meets, I can't remember if they were all on the same day or what, one particular person who did the same thing was given a green, was given a pass. So I take what you said about that inconsistency, but fortunately there weren't too many cases of problems with the starts. So I accept that. Another point that was raised had to do with no-shows. And when I'm talking about no-shows, I'm not talking about the infamous 4 who we know why they didn't show. You know, we're talking about Regindra Campbell, Roger Stoner, Wayne Pinnock, and Hibbert, because they have, you know, moved on. But there were some other athletes who I was expecting, and I'm not sure what their status is in terms of injury. For example, Tajay Gale. Although we have lost Wayne Pinnock as our top jumper, some of you may remember that in the last World Championships, we came 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Because 2nd was, I think, McLeod, Kerry, I think his name is, Kerry McLeod. And Tajay Gale was 4th. So we have long jumpers, but then Tajay didn't show up. So he may have had some injury concerns, because I know I heard he moved from MVP. So I'm not even sure where he's training now and what is his status. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Then even in terms of the hurdles, although I know he wasn't in the best of shape, he had run a couple of meets, not doing anything fantastic. That was McLeod in the hurdles. McLeod didn't show up. At least I thought, based on some of his pronouncements that I saw on YouTube or other interviews, I thought he was gonna show up. And then the one that we also know, we didn't expect her to show up because she hasn't competed all year, is our favorite Elaine. So I'm only hoping that she's healing and that, maybe it's taking a bit longer, but I'm hoping that there's progress. We haven't heard a lot of information to know exactly what is happening with her, but I'm one of those who believe that she will come good again. I remember in 2021, after the Olympics was postponed after the 2020 Olympics was set back a year, I remember in an interview, she pointed out that that year actually helped her because she may not have been in the condition that she was able to be in 2021 at the original date for those Olympic Games. So I'm just hoping that maybe, there won't be a World Championships next year, but there'll be other events. In fact, I think there's going to be a super, I'm not sure what the name of it, but some kind, Eric, you remember, the name of the new meet that they're going to have next year, Champion of Champions or something. You remember that? Eric? Okay. Is that Clive? I'm seeing Clyde. Clyde, that's you? Oh no, that's Trevor. Why? Yeah, that's Trevor. Yeah, there is going to be a new event next year called the Champions. I don't know if you have to be a champion to be able to compete, but then you wouldn't have enough people who are former champions. So it must. So I'm not exactly sure how you become eligible to compete in that. But we'll hear more about that one. So I also would have, for me, the most impressive performance was definitely Megan Tapper. I never, in my wildest imagination, expected her to do 11.34. I never 12 right, sorry, 12.34. I wasn't expecting it. But when I saw her at the end, after I saw a close-up of her, she's been doing some work. Because the abs that I saw on Megan, I don't think she had that a year or two ago. I don't, maybe I wasn't looking closely enough, but I just don't think she looked that toned. So obviously she was doing the work and it paid off. And there was an interesting interview with her on Sportsmax this evening, which I was able to watch. And she's really a delightful person, and I wish her well. And it would be nice if we can have, we're gonna have 4 people in Osaka in the 100-meter hurdles, because Danielle Williams is the defending champion, so she gets a bye, and that means that we can select our top 3. The top 3 who came in, the third one was Amoy Brown. So all 3 will be eligible to go to Osaka. So, and the other event where we'll be able to send 3 is in the women's 200 meters, where Sharika has a bye, and we have our top 3. Now I can't remember. In the women's top 3, I wouldn't say the top 3 are all in the mix in terms of being competitive, but at least we'll be able to send a total of 4. So that looks well. In terms of, I'll throw in my disappointments. My main disappointment was to see Brianna Williams false start. I think she had a shot of making the team in the 200 meters after not being in the fray in the 100 meters. So I thought she had an opportunity to be up there, and she false started, and that was such a clear-cut false start that you couldn't pretend that it wasn't. So I can't say the judges, if they even wanted to give her a blind, I'm not sure on what basis they would have given her a blind. So that was just unfortunate. And but I'm hoping, a lot of persons have come back from setbacks, and I'm hoping that with her support system, that she will be strong enough to keep fighting and not to throw in the towel. And so I hope that the season isn't over. I don't know how it works for persons who don't make the team, whether they can get a lane, but she can obviously compete for the rest of the year, and hopefully she will come back stronger next year. A little bit about the field events. Now, we lost out with Wayne Pinnock in the long jump. But we have Kerry McLeod, and we don't have Tajay because he didn't show up. And so at least we have one person. We lost out with Jaden Hibbert in the triple jump, but we do have another guy named Jordan Scott, who has been jumping 17.3, 17. I don't think he has reached 17.4 yet, but he is going to be a formidable candidate. So in a sense, we have a replacement, and in fact, he hasn't gone as far as Jaden has, because Jaden's jump, which is the under 20 world record, is about 17.7, 17.8 or something like that. Anyway, we do have we are still competitive in the triple jump. We are still competitive in the long jump, and in the discus we have this youngster. His name escapes me right now. But he
Mullins.
Say the name again.
Mullins. Ransford Mullins.
No, it's not Ransford Mullins. That's his name? Is that his name? The one who had the NCAA and broke the record?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
No, it's close. It's not Ransford, it's Ralford.
Okay, okay,
Ralph.
but that's the person I'm talking about. We'll get his name correct afterwards. But he threw about 66, at the trials. A bit below his I think his top mark is 69. One thing that sorry, that we must remember is that when Roger broke the Olympic record and set it at 70 meters, that was not a world record. And the world record is a bit more than 70 meters, but he still has the Olympic record. So this youngster who is throwing very well, I wouldn't. He actually did go to Paris. I don't know if you guys might remember that he was in Paris, but he did not make top 8. I think he came 9th. So he has had experience, at least exposure at the top level. Let me come back into Clovis now. Clovis, you opened the batting. You can take it now in some other directions that you may want to. Let me just finish one more thing in terms of the field events. With high jump, this is an area where in the past we have just had to look on and just watch people doing jumps. But now we have at least one, and maybe some people could say 2 persons who are quite competitive. In other words, they're jumping over 2.2 meters, which is not going to win you a gold medal, but it puts you in the fray, and maybe they can do even better. On the women's side, Lamara Distin, she tends not to do very well in the national championships. I remember once, unless my memory is failing me, when she, even at her national championships, I think she had 3 no jumps. I remember a couple of years ago she was the best jumper of all, so I don't know why that happened. Anyway, she did only about 1.86 in the trials, but then she's so far ahead of the competition that that's not a problem. And I'm just hoping that she will be able to work out whatever kinks she has, and that she will be in top shape come September. Clovis, your time. I won't limit you to what you might want to cover. Afterwards, I want to look at events, but just you can take it over.
DP Stewart, for me, before you move on, you mentioned the thing for next year. So if I could so it's called the World Athletics Ultimate Championships. You're asking where they would get people from. It's supposed to be the Olympic champion, the world champion, the Diamond League champion, and the top performing people in the 28 events that they will have.
Okay, that's how they round out the okay. Yeah. And is there any limit on which events, or are they gonna have the full spectrum?
They said 28. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, 28 events.
What's the 28? So
yeah. Thanks for that. that. Okay, Clovis, your time.
Yes, thank you, DP Stewart. Let me you touch on my favorite athlete right now, track and field athlete, and that is Elaine Thompson. To me, she is the ultimate star. I still believe that she's the best sprinter Jamaica has ever produced. No, I'm happy to hear that the JAA, has come out and say they will try and give her some assistance because they are concerned. Late in coming, but glad that it is on record.
When did they say that?
I saw it in the news that they had some concern. I don't know the date, but take it from me. They did it.
Okay.
Made a statement. All right.
Glad to hear.
I don't know if it is monetary assistance or advice or what, but I don't know who is surrounding Elaine. I shouldn't probably say this, but but let me say it, because that's what I think. I think as regards our athletic ability and progress, that has been hampered by our husband. But what I can't understand is who is making the decisions for her? DP, I look back at last year when she just was nowhere. And for some reason, she went on to this girl, Osborne, from the Optimum training group. And this girl, trust me, remember that name, because she is going to be, if not one of the best track and field coaches in the world. This girl is good. Same one who trained Brian Lavelle.
Yes.
If you will recall, Elaine was doing absolutely nothing, and she went to this girl. And this girl is the first time she broke 11, and her times kept coming down. She went to the final of the Diamond 100, and I think she came fourth or something like that. That is, her performance has just ballooned. So I thought this year, the first person she would stick with is Osborne. Lo and behold, there's some disagreement and about fees or what have you. But, I just can't understand that. If Osborne is doing so much for you, including the injury that you have, and has performed for you, I can't understand why money should be, the factor that separates them. She has gone on to the States. There's a blackout of information. How can that be? How can there be a blackout on information on her, and she's our treasured asset? I don't know what's happening in that. So I'm sorry Ricardo wasn't here, because he has access to probably JAA and some other individuals, and he could probably reach out and let us get some information. Let us encourage her. I would encourage her to come back to Jamaica under the tutelage of this young lady, Osborne.
Well, sorry.
Right.
Interestingly, keep your thought. Interestingly, it was Stephen Francis who even said that the advice he would have given her is to go to the States. This is after she had broken up the relationship with Osborne, and because he said that he felt that the kind of training that we tend to focus on is not likely to be consistent with the kind of injury that she has. Well, I don't suppose Stephen Francis is always right, so I'm not saying coming back home wouldn't be a good idea. But I too, we were all impressed with the progress that she was making with Shaniki, and she was actually smiling again. I remember, you can tell when an athlete is enjoying what's happening, and we have seen moments even when the three of them were doing well, when there was clearly tension between the big three, as we call them. And I remember after she started to get back some form with with Shaniki, you could see Elaine looking happier, and I do remember that. So we just hope that she is getting some good advice. She was in Jamaica recently. I don't know if you guys know that, but there was a clip with her. Apparently it was her grandmother's birthday, and she came home, but she just probably stayed in the country. She didn't really go public. But there was a little clip on YouTube showing her with her grandmother. So let's hope. She didn't look. Well, I guess you can't look at somebody and know whether they're injured or not, But I'm just saying she has been here. But I share your sentiments. But continue. Pick up where you left off.
Yeah, I saw that video with she and her grandmother for the birthday.
Mhm.
And I'm saying to us that, certainly our journalists in Jamaica are top class. You want to tell me that none of them could get an interview with her? And if they couldn't, I'd love somebody saying that we know Elaine is in the island. We tried to get an interview, but she would not speak. I prefer to hear that than hear nothing at all. Because our media, they get everything they want to do. And here she's the queen of Jamaican female athletics and nothing. All right, the other name that bothers me is Brianna Williams. I mentioned the false start. You also mentioned the false start. What bothers me about that DP is, you know, at the championships, at champs and all that, if you are down to run in a race and you don't run, you're disqualified from the other events that you know. I remember Nkrumah coming out or whatever, Liam wanted to run in the race, so he just lined up in the 100, just step off and didn't run. What Brianna Williams did to me bothers me. You touched on it and said they couldn't give her a blight. It seems to me like she just in that 200, like she didn't want to run. The false start was not a false start. It was deliberate, blatant. That can't be called, you know.
I wouldn't say it was deliberate. I would say blatant is surely blatant. But some things we just don't know, Clovis. Some things we just don't know. And we can't sit and watch it on TV or even if we're in the stands and know for sure. Based on her reaction after, because I think her mother was on the cycle track around the start of the 200, I don't think that was deliberate. But that's just an opinion based on what I saw. And as I said, there are some things we don't have an explanation for, and I wouldn't go as far as to suggest that it was deliberate. Because even the example you are quoting, there weren't any more events for her anyway. So what tends to happen quite often is if they make the team in the 100, a lot of people don't show for the 200. But then that's the last event for them anyway. In her case, she didn't make the team for the 100, so she was making an attempt to qualify for the 200. And I think she really wanted to make the team. So, and she has been running well. So I don't think there's any injury concern. You know?
But I agree with you totally. She has been running well, and that is why I expected her to meet the final. This is the best we have seen of Brianna in the last 3 years or so. So, you know, it was
and
really
her coach was here. Her coach was in Jamaica with her. Her coach, John Smith, he was in Jamaica for the event. So you know, so I don't know exactly what happened. Eric,
right.
Any thoughts?
Let's hope it's not lack of interest.
Lack of what? Let's hope it's not what?
Lack of interest.
Oh,
lack of interest.
No, I don't think that's the case. I really don't think that's the case. She still wants to be a part of this, and even her people can say things, but even her utterances wouldn't support that. So I don't think if you're worried about that, I don't think you have to worry about that. Eric, anything that from what we have covered?
What happened? My phone
yes.
Overheated. So I had to get another.
Yeah,
phone.
because I was talking to you I was calling to you and I didn't hear an answer. But anything else you want to put in?
Well, I don't. With the matter of Brianna, I don't think she did it deliberate. I think she wanted to get out quick.
Yes.
And I think that enthusiasm made her jump out. Right. The matter of Elaine, it's very concerning. But the grapevine said that she's still injured. So we have to just that.
Well, we accept that she's injured since she has been competing. But it's just that we'd love to know what kind of progress is being made in the healing. That's kind of where we are with that. Yeah. I was looking through the list of events. We have a pretty good lineup for the men in the 100 meters, and a pretty good lineup for the women in the 100 meters.
Right.
In the 200 meters, Christopher hasn't made but he has until about, I think it's mid-August. he hasn't made the qualifying time yet for the 200. But I think level, I wouldn't say that Chris could be competitive yet, but he certainly can bring his times down. And level should be in the mix somewhere. We're hoping that will be the case. As to what happened to him in the 100 meters when he stopped, or practically stopped, he actually finished the race in 10.43 or something. It doesn't seem like it was an injury. It might have been more of a cramp or something. And you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, it had to be a cramp for him to come back.
Right, for him to come back. Exactly. And he probably, at the time when he felt it or so, and he probably realized it wasn't going to happen for him this time, based on what was happening in the race.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that they got away from him.
Yes, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
In the 400 meters, I just want to run through quickly the events. In the 400 meters, Rasheen won. I don't know why he felt he should stop running so early. Because I know had he run through, he would have made a qualifying time, which he still doesn't have.
Right.
And the people coming behind him, I don't think we will be very competitive in the individual. I'm so disappointed. Sorry about Antonio. We should say a word about Antonio, who didn't. Well, he stopped in the semifinals. He is the defending champion, so I should mention that. So he has a bye, but if he's injured and he can't run, the bye won't help anybody because you can't transfer the bye. But
I don't know if you had addressed the bye, but because Daniel Williams also has a bye.
Daniel Williams, what?
Also has a bye in the 100 meter hurdle. Yeah.
In the 100, yeah, she does. Yeah, we mentioned that. But I'm hoping that when he stopped in the semifinals, that he just wanted to see how the leg felt. He has some time, but injuries take a lot longer. I've noticed that sometimes athletes get an injury and you feel that they should have a year may be enough. Sometimes even a year is not enough. There are the athletes we can remember who didn't show up, but who we know, like Brittany Anderson, another top hurdle that we have. I hear she's married and is pregnant, So she has probably just taken off this year, but she was recovering from injury. So we have a lot of other persons who didn't show up at the championships, but who are still part of the pool of our resources, of our wonderful athletic resources. In the 800, I was really disappointed to see how Natoya how she ran. And I'm not sure if there's much that we can expect from her, although I'm sure she'll be on the team. In the 100-meter hurdles, we're looking pretty good. I expect Orlando Bennett. Well, we should say a word about Broadbell. Some of you might be aware he didn't turn up for the finals, but he has sought and been granted a medical exemption. Somebody took me on Facebook as if to say that you can only apply for a medical exemption before the meet. So I said, well, what happens if you get injured during the meet?
I'm sorry, sir. Sorry to disturb you. He has not applied and he has not gotten a medical exemption. Be careful how you say that.
So what is your information?
As of yesterday, he has not sought and he has not gotten a medical exemption. Okay, that's okay.
Okay. Thanks for that. You sound like you know what you're talking about, so we'll just leave it at that. But as to what I've also heard is that his injury was more superficial in that he got a cut. And a cut is not a damage to a muscle or a ligament or tissue or anything. So as to, well, I'm not in a position to contradict you, so we leave it at that. I don't think I need to.
Before you go further, DP.
Yeah.
I just want to say that in the news, and it had indicated that he has to be examined. So I think the young lady is correct that he has not sought or gotten the exemption because he has to be examined by the JAA official.
Yeah, the doctor for the J3.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
that is correct.
Yeah, so
That's part of the process.
Right.
And therefore, only after maybe the examination can you officially maybe do it. So anyway, I don't think that there's, so long as he's in a condition to run, I am pretty sure he will be in Japan. If as long as his fitness is established, is reestablished, and he because I really don't see what would keep him out of it unless he is really injured and remains injured. That's my view, and I'm sticking with that view. Okay, in terms of our medal prospects. Say again?
I've raised my hands. I don't know if you're taking questions.
Yeah, I am. We are. Come right in. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Olive McNaughton, the sports realtor. Question though. Broadbell is special to most of us, including myself. But the other three athletes who has the qualified standard have made it. It's a hard one because I remember Shelley in 2008. So are you saying you're going to take out the 100 persons who came second or third and put Broadbell in?
It wouldn't be one who came second or third.
One.
It's not a tough one. It's not the one who came second or third. It's the one who came third. Look, this was drafted and included in the days when we had Usain and we had Johan, and this is policy. It's not something that was just made up. No. So it's not, and we all know that if something had happened to Usain when he was running and it was just something temporary and he would recover, we weren't going to leave him out of the team. So this was a provision that was created. There's nothing unfair about it. There's nothing unfair about it. It's not as if to say you're just making up something as you go along. It is already written, okay? And it is Tyler Mason is the one who would be in third, so he would be the one who would lose the spot. But all I'm saying is this is something that is already established. So there's nothing, I wouldn't argue that there's anything unfair or unreasonable about it. If it's just these things happen and we had a provision for it. So I would have no qualms in exercising it if all the other conditions are met. Right? I wouldn't have any qualms. I mean, there's gonna people who feel like you, I'm sure. So I'm not even gonna argue about your point of view, but I'm just saying the provision already existed. So there's nothing unfair or unreasonable about it. Everybody knew that going in, you know. Anyway, if there are any more hands up, because we're gonna have to wrap shortly, and I just wanted to, I'll just quickly say, I think we have medal prospects in the high jump, both in the men and the women. We have medal prospects in the triple jump, both men and women. We have medal prospects in the long jump, and if Akelia Smith is doing well, you know, I think we have a medal prospect in the women as well. I doubt if we have medal prospects in the shot put, either men or women. We don't have anybody close to Rajendra. And I heard an interview with our shot put lady, Dodds, and when they asked her what were her goals for the rest of the year, she didn't say anything about being on the podium. She said she wanted to improve her personal best. And so if if that is her goal in terms, then obviously she doesn't think she has a chance of being on the podium. So I would go with her estimate. And in the discus, I think we have a shot with the men. You know, we just see if our youngster can step up. But those are the only events that I would consider right now going forward. And although we have a good 4x1 men, that 4x1 men hasn't qualified yet. Isn't that true, Eric? The
I was
4x1
going to bring
men.
that up to you, DP, because the
Yeah.
4x100 and the 4x400 for women have not
Right.
qualified as yet, and we
Exactly.
have very good teams now. So we
Yes.
should find opportunities to qualify.
Well, the J3s have named about 3 meets where the 4x1 for men should have a chance, and I'm not sure which meets they have identified for the women 4x4. But that is something which we have to do. I hope they organize it and get it together, because we have a very good team. Okay, anybody else from the floor has anything that they want to throw in? It's open. And then I'm gonna go to you guys for closing positions.
Stuart, can you hear me?
I'm here. Oh, hi, Cleo. Yes. Go ahead.
Prof. Irving, listen, a good meet.
Oh, Rachel, sorry.
Right,
Glad you
Rachel.
made it. Yeah.
I'm buoyed by what I see, quite excited. I hope they stay hydrated, because with young civil, I was a little bit worried. So I'm hoping, because the time is so hot, that they stay hydrated. And not hydrated in terms of water, the mineral balance, nutrition at this stage, because we look good. We have to stay good up until the first week of September. So,
do you think, is
yeah.
it your view that Seville's situation, which we don't really know, was probably down to hydration? Is that your view?
Yeah, man, my view, because it looked like a cramp to me, because he couldn't have run that well if it was something else afterwards and walk around. So it looked like a cramp. And in situation like this, cramps tend to be because of hydration. So I'm hoping that, we manage a team well, use a little bit of AI and come up, because we should be doing well.
Okay.
Manage the team well.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were on earlier, Rachel. I would have brought you in. To our fellow audience, this is Dr. Rachel Irving from the University of West Indies, and she has been doing a lot of work in terms of injury prevention and that kind of stuff. What's the name of your department again, Rachel? She's a professor. What's the name of your department? Just tell me.
I'm in medical science, faculty of medical science, basic medical science, preclinical.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Thanks for that. Glad you made it. Anybody else from the floor?
PVP Mark here. I would just say my special moment was just to see Shelley qualified. I mean, I think she demonstrated her lion heart, her true character and grace, I was very moved just to see her making it and continue to have her never say die spirit. Of course, Tapper's performance was spectacular, and my mixed moment was the 100-meter men finals. I was very happy to see Seville being able to run, but also disappointed in I think Lavelle pulling up in the same race, because I think he certainly would have been in the top 3 in that event. So those are my thoughts.
Thanks for that, Mark. Well, I don't think we would describe it as a pull-up, because he ran in the 200 afterwards and did fairly well. I hear another voice.
Yes, no, that's me, Bev. Just
hi,
yeah.
Bev.
Hi, how are you doing?
Not
Look
bad.
here, that young man that went to Calabar, and he, at the beginning, he was like in pain or something was happening. Trying to remember his name.
In the 100?
100 meters, yeah.
That's Seville. That's Seville. That's the one we're talking
Seville,
about.
right. But is it that when something like that happens, is it he's the one who makes a decision whether he should run or not run, or should a doctor have looked at him and declared him
No,
that
no,
he's okay?
no.
I just
It's not.
wonder.
No, it's not like boxing, babe. You know,
Uh-huh.
where a doctor is trying to prevent you from, maybe you losing your life. The athlete is quite capable of making a decision. If his coach was present, his coach might have had an input in the decision, but it's the athlete. And as Dr. Irving said earlier, she's pretty confident because he came back and ran. The time he came back and ran, you couldn't run it if you're injured. It's just not possible. And so she has put it down to hydration, and that is based on her experience. And it seems as if that's the most reasonable response to his situation.
I was worried for him, but it came off hard.
But part of our worry was imposed on us by the commentators who were commentating. So I think some of that was rubbed off on us.
Yeah, true.
Somebody else want to say something? I heard a voice.
Stewart?
Yes.
DP Stewart?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I've had my hand up for a little while, but
sorry. I wasn't looking at the that particular sheet. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I don't have much time, but the youth will win the 100 meter read. Good run, I like how him run. And the 800 meter, the Anderson youth, 8 and 1005. I don't know if you had touch base on that. And my highlight was Megan Tapper. Yes, I like how Lovell run it at 200 meter. And me and you always have a discussion about the field events. What's your take on? I heard you mention most of it, but for the qualifying standards, how many of the athletes, whether for track or field, have qualified? Because I was kind of taking a look at it today. But as I said, how did you like the youth that run for Ed Seltzer, the one that win the 100 meter? I think his name is Nikisha. What his name? Reed. Yeah, man.
I must admit, I wasn't focusing so much on the junior athletes.
Sorry.
I mean, no, that's all right. I just wasn't focusing enough to remember what they accomplished, because my head was really with the seniors, But the one that stood out is the guy who ran the hurdles, although I don't remember the race in particular, but the time he did. In fact, I was trying to do some research because somebody was Daniel Clark, right? Somebody was saying, and I think this is disputed. I don't know if anybody can settle this argument, that the juniors, all right, the 400 hurdles that is run by the seniors and the juniors, they run the same height. I'm positive about that. But the 110 meter hurdles for the juniors and the seniors, it's my understanding that the seniors do 36 inches and the juniors run 33 inches. So I heard somebody saying, and if anybody knows different, they can correct me. But I heard somebody saying that the time that the junior did would have won the seniors. Now, let's ignore the fact that when you are competing among men, juniors don't always do the same thing. But just look at the time for time. His time was 12.96, I think, and he was basically saying that was something. Yes, he did 12.96, and since the seniors did 13.1, Bennett, he was saying he would have won. But I'm pretty sure that the juniors run 3 inches, height is 3 inches shorter. Zuri, you can Google that.
As a referee.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yes, I can tell you that because yes, they do run 2 different heights. The seniors run the Olympic heights. You have the youths that run still a young thing. Yes, they run 33 36 versus 36 inches.
Right. But for 400 meters, I understand both of them do the same height.
The same
Right.
heights, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that point, Robert. And as I did go through the field events in terms of what I thought our prospects were. So in terms of who has the qualifying time, distances or times, I'm pretty sure Kerry McLeod is okay. I'm pretty sure he should be okay.
Yeah, he's already had made the standard.
Yeah, Jordan Scott is definitely okay. The guy from the college, NCAA, the champion.
Mullins, he already has
Right.
a standard as well.
He already has a standard. None of the other discus throwers have the standard. And I think in the last part of the meet, there was a little bit of rain. And I remember Dakers in his last throw kind of aborted it. I don't know if it was a slippery surface or something. But they all have time to get it. So hopefully we will have more than, in fact, hopefully we'll have 3 people at least in the discus in Osaka. And we have 2 high jumpers who are doing pretty good, doing pretty good.
I don't know if DP Stewart, I don't know if you mentioned, you can go to the World Championship not only by the standard, but also by your ranking.
Yeah, that was mentioned.
I said that earlier.
Okay.
That's what happened for most of the field events because the standard is set so high. So most of the field events is world ranking.
Right. And it's because if they didn't set it that high, they might have more people qualifying than they were prepared to accommodate. So field events in particular is set pretty high. So yeah, we mentioned that in the beginning. Okay.
So DP Stewart, before I had my hand up as well.
Oh, sorry.
For a while, but it was just because you mentioned Tajay Gale earlier, and you said he had changed, but you didn't know where he changed to. So he's now with Kerry Lee, the same camp as Shanika.
You mean Shanika Osborne?
No, Ricketts.
Oh yes, that's right. I did hear that.
That's where he is now. And
yes.
He did apply for a medical exemption.
Oh.
So his coach confirmed that he did
but he's not in the top 3. He said the medical exemption was only a facility afforded if you are one of the top 3 in the world. And I'm sure he's not top 3. Broadbell qualified because he's number 2. Go ahead, Olive.
The other thing that we have, I don't know if you mentioned, the Grand Prix champions also have a bye to the World Championships. So Tajay Gale also was the Grand Prix champion, as well as Akeem Blake, and so they qualify for the World Championships. And he also has the qualifying mark.
No, it has been reseen.
No,
sorry.
That
has been reseen. No, if you're not the Diamond League anymore, World Athletics changed that.
The World Athletics has put out a thing that the Diamond League champion, they have qualified from last year will qualify for the World Championships put out by World Athletics.
No, I think there's a dispute.
Sorry. Yeah, there is a dispute, Ali. There's a dispute there. But Stuart, can I say something quickly?
Sure.
With Orlando Bennett, who won the hurdles.
Yes.
He has always competed and go to the Olympics. He came to give a talk the other day at UE to some students. And they said they wanted to see Civil, not him, because he wasn't as known. And, I worked with him at Calabar, and and he said, boy, Prof, why they don't know me? I said, boy, a lot of, it's just Jamaica. And I said, but you have to use the science. You have to examine yourself. You're that good, you're bright. Because I know he got about 7 subjects and he was deputy head boy of Calabar. You have to analyze everything. And he said, Prof, and I said, you need to sleep, you need to hydrate. And he said, Prof, you know what? I'm going to sit down and work it out. And you will be proud of me. I have not called it yet. So self-evaluation.
Yeah.
looking at the whole thing has elevated him, I think.
Yes. Because he has not failed to make a national team from the time he first made a national team. You know?
Which is what I was saying. On that point, it's very unfortunate that there are still people, even in the stadium when he's performing, who don't know him or don't expect him to be on a team. Somebody who is consistently on a team and consistently perform, made the Olympic finals, and there are still people who go to the stadium and don't know who he is. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
But it goes back to branding too. And I think some of our athletes just don't know how to brand themselves, don't understand that they are a brand, and don't take it seriously.
Yeah. No, but you see, this branding thing is relatively new, you know, relatively.
But that's where it is now.
That's where it is now. Exactly. I agree with you.
And I mean, relatively, I mean, from Usain time now, I think we've had enough years and enough time to see that that's where it is. Noah Lyles has made himself into this mega star without the performances.
But Zuri, it's hard to create a brand if you never win a medal, if you never win an international medal. You understand me? It's harder to. Let's put that way. It's harder to. I mean, Shakira created her brand even before she won anything.
Yeah.
But she was an exception. But there are not many people who were able to create that aura and get a following without that preceded her achievements. You know, and then when she won the World Championships, it followed what usually the World Championship would have come first. So she did it the other way. But you're quite right. And not only that, I remember hearing recently that Daniel Roberts, who is an elite athlete, elite hurdler for the US.
Win medal,
exactly. And he doesn't have a sponsor, doesn't have a shoe sponsor, doesn't have an apparel sponsor.
Yep.
And what you get to realize is that sponsors are looking for people who can sell stuff. Right? That's part of what they're looking for. And if you don't have no social media presence, or you don't have no this or that, or how many followers on Twitter or X or whatever they call it, you know, those are the things that help to make you, you know. So it's a funny kind of thing, and yet somebody like Sydney McLaughlin, who is a kind of low personality person because she's not a hype person, but her performances speak for themselves.
But she does interviews outside of the track thing, and she does books, and she does so there's that presence outside of.
Since the Grand Slam thing, is the most I've seen her come out of her shell. You know, it's the most I've seen her come out of her shell. But I'm happy for that. But I'm just saying it's a funny word. You know, it's a funny word. And let me just end on this point. There's no question that field events, people are saying Jamaica don't treat field events. It's not Jamaica alone. The world does not treat field events at the same level as the track events. And this is why it's harder. So it's not just a function. We now have to make sure that we especially look out for our field events, because it's not, certain events carry more influence, and then certainly the track events carry more influence than field events. Well, I don't think there are any more hands up. Let me say thank you to our panelists. Eric, I don't know if you wanted to add a quick closing final comment. That's all we have time for. Eric, any closing remarks? And then I go to Clovis.
Okay, well, all I want to do at this point in time is to wish all our athletes all the best. And I know that given the lead time now between now and September, a lot of athletes will improve as they go along. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that we had our trials a little earlier might turn out to be a good thing, because now they just have to concentrate on getting themselves, you know, fine-tuned for Osaka. And those who don't have the qualifying time or distance, they can work on that as well. Clovis, your time, closing remark.
Yes, DP, I have three concerns that I want to voice. The first one is I share the concerns of Olive McNaughton. And if you look at the 100-meter hurdles, Orlando Bennett won. I think DeMario Prince came second and Tyler Mason third.
Yeah.
All three met the qualifying time. And going back to the days of the great Teddy McCook, where it comes to discipline, those would be the three representatives for me for Jamaica. Broadbell would have no place on the team because I can't see me coming to the trial and coming first, second, and third and qualify and do not get a chance to run for my country. That's my thought.
Yep.
The other two is, unlike you, I don't believe the early trial is a good thing. I am concerned that based on training programs that trainers would normally do, I believe that some of our athletes, the winners, might have peaked too early, and come September, 2.5 months time, they will get stale. So it's yet to be seen. I hope I'm wrong, but let us see where we go. And the other concern I have is about Seville. This is the second time now in a final I'm seeing an incident with him. Is it nerves? Is it that he's freezing? Stay close to that because, you know, every final, the last final when he was about to medal, he, you know, cramps or whatever, but something not right. It happens in the final and we have to take note of that.
Okay. Just tell me the two things you mentioned. One was Tyler Mason, and the second one was what?
The two things I mentioned, one was that Orlando Bennett.
Yeah, the hurdles.
Yes. And the other thing was about we should not have had the trial so early.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let me put another way. With respect to the title, you use the word discipline. This has nothing to do with discipline. All right. If you have a provision.
Rules, sorry, rules. Sticking to the rules.
Okay.
That's what Teddy used to do.
No, but the rules accommodated something. It's not the days when it was an arbitrary decision based on somebody's belief. Just like when Shelley came second in 2008 at the National Championships, and people were advocating that we should put Veronica in Shelley's space. What the J3s did is stuck to the rules. There was no.
This is strict.
Right. So that is fine. They stuck to the rules. This is not a case where you're breaking a rule because you already created a provision. And the final thing I'd say about the timing, I know that MVP, as I said, they lobbied J3s to keep the dates. And I don't think I'm worried. In fact, if you're worried about them peaking again, think about it, that if they have the trials now and they have 2 months and a little bit for the championships, then that is an easier time to peak again, rather than if it was 1 month. So
let me just question you though, DP. Does the rule speak to the first, second, and third, or only the first and second? Because in the hurdles, 3 Bennett, Prince, and Mason came 1, 2, 3, and they met the qualifying time. How do I take out any one of them?
So let's not go over that, Clovis. Let's not go over that. I'm just saying there was a provision that I think we said it already. If you are top 3 in the world, this is a facility afforded to you if you apply for a medical exemption. So let us not go over that. Is that they're not breaking any rule? That was already set as policy. So I also want to say thank you to my fellow panelists. Thank you to an audience who has been quite, and I must give a special shout out to Olive. She provided some information which we found interesting, and we'll follow up and see exactly what is the current state. However, thanks to everybody, and back to you, Mr. President.
Just a quick note, DP Stewart.
Go ahead.
Thank you for just adding that if you want to see these guys in Japan, I have packages. Call me or email me.
Okay. I think everybody knows you by now. So we know where to go for those who are gonna go to Japan. Okay, Olive.
Thank you, DP Stu. Sorry, you had finished, or
Yes, I'm finished. Yes,
okay.
yes, Brett.
And what I was going to encourage is that we can continue the conversation after the meeting is over. Once the formal meeting is over, we can have what I call after the discussion, if there's any more contributions that need to be made. So, Kiwanians, I will need to wind up the meeting. Sergeant at Arms is not available now, so I'm going to just have a blanket fine. There has been a lot of discussion, especially with developments up north, about citizenship, and I'll use that as the fulcrum to level the fines. So those of you who are full Jamaican citizens, or no, those who have dual citizenship, be it in the United States or elsewhere, you should pay for that privilege. Don't know how long it's going to last, but those Kiwanians, Kingston Club members, pay $500 in fines, and those who are Jamaican citizens alone, you'll get a discount for sticking to your national pride, and you'll get a fine of $300.
And anybody who has decided to defect?
Well, $600.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move to interclubbing opportunities, and I'll ask DLG Willie to share if there's any things on the club agenda for this week.
Oh, sorry. And let me say thanks for it to Mr. Dr. Irvin. Glad you
Yes.
could make it.
Yes. DLG Willie, are you still here? I think I saw him online. Not seeing DLG Willie, but again, I'll take the opportunity to remind everybody online that the club has their NDTC performance on Saturday, July 19th at 8 a.m. The cost of the tickets is $4,000. We look forward to each and every person's contribution or participation, and buy a ticket. Support it is for Kiwanis charities, and we would most appreciate it. We do have other clubs that are online. I'll quickly give them the opportunity if they'd like to advertise or share with us any of their events coming up. Now is the time. Going once, going twice. All right. And again, I remind you that we can continue this discussion after we conclude the meeting. So if there's no
Fred,
other...
Sorry.
Oh, there you are, DLG Willie. You were muted.
Sorry. My apology. There was a good power cut.
Okay, no problem. We were asking if there's any interclub opportunities that you'd want to share.
Just very quickly, just reinforce the fact that our next fundraiser, and it needs the support of all our members in National Dance Theatre benefit performance at the Little Theatre on Saturday, July 19th at 8 p.m. I must say the uptake by clubs have been very good. I can't say the same thing for our members. Cost of tickets, $4,000. Just a reminder too, I got a notice this morning that there is a fun sports day for both 23 East and 23 Central on Saturday, July 26th at Usain Bolt Track, University of West Indies. In terms of interclubs, I will circulate the interclubbing opportunities come tomorrow morning. Thank you, Press.
Thank you, DLG. And again, just to echo DLG's request, please, if each member of our club buys at least 2 tickets, we'll have a significant profit. So just buy at least 1 ticket. Even if you're not a arts lover or a dance lover, please support our venture and buy a ticket. We want the support, especially from our members. So on that note, I'd like to now formally call the meeting to a close. And before I terminate, I'd like you to raise your virtual glasses, those of you who have glasses, and raise a toast to Kiwanis International, Jamaica, land we love. Cheers. And this terminates the meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston for today, July 1st. Thank you one and all for your audience and your participation. And we are going to continue now, even though the meeting is over, with further discussion about track and field and each person's prediction. What's interesting, we didn't discuss in the presentation if there was a call as to a prediction as to who is going to win the marquee events, the 100 meters men and 100 meters female in Japan. Obviously, it would not be all Jamaicans, but who do we see as the main competitors in those marquee events? Over to you, DP Stewart.
Yes, I don't think, I think that Kishin, with the experience that he has now acquired, you know, but nothing is sure. But I would put my money on Kishin. You know, when I saw him in last year, I thought I was really, you know, impressed. And I said, this guy can break Bolt's record. No, he's not there
So
yet.
you're saying gold over Noah Lyles in Japan. That's your
Yes,
call.
I think,
Yes.
yes, definitely.
All right.
I don't know who else wants to put in there, but I wouldn't be betting against Kishin. Well, I don't know if Lyles is running at the Prefontaine meet. I don't think he's running at the Prefontaine meet. But Kishin is supposed to run this weekend at the Prefontaine meet in the US. And let's see how he stacks up against Trayvon Burrell and Coleman and a couple of those Americans who will be in the same race. Should be interesting. Robert, you online? As I said before playing the music, I just leave the line open in case anybody wants to.
Yeah,
continue.
man, I'm online. I'm online.
I like
Yeah.
how President Stephen put Noah in Tokyo even before the US trials.
Well,
he will be there. He will be there.
Oh,
He's the defending champion, so he will be there.
oh yes, that's true. That's true.
oh, he won the last world?
Yes, he's a double world champion.
Oh yeah. That's a part of his bragging rights. He's the fastest man in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, he's
Still
back to
feel
back to
that
back.
still feel if Christian if Christian never tied up, he would have beat Noah Lyles, because Noah Lyles a show off. Remind me of the typical US 100-meter runners over the years. Morris Green when he used to run, Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay. Yeah man, it just happened.
Tyson Gay was not sure.
Yeah,
But
he wasn't a show off.
But he had acceleration. He had amazing acceleration.
Yeah, man, but me just always say, boy, when we get Bolt, because how we used to do good at champs, and we have always done good at champs. Yeah, man, Bolt did show them, say, yo, a long time, we in the men and the women. Yeah, man, we have runners, man. But as me I say, you know, when me did I watch the junior trials, you know, yeah, look out for the youth, them for the future, you know, Stewie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, me, no, yeah, you see the crop how we get out Jaden Hibbert. Remember me always talk about the Columbia crop there. You remember, you know, the one that got the under 20, you know. Always I say, you know, me focus on our tradition, 1, 2, and 4. The 4 always hurt me. Where it's like, how me want to pass off and recuperate. I'm going to watch the mat. I'm going to watch the race. And say that he that I run. McDonald, forgive me, Father God. And him a run. And when him a run, and then all of a sudden him a show off.
Be a little bit more. Give him a little bit more respect, though. Give him a little more respect.
Okay. But if him did run the right way, because I'm gonna take a look at
when he came into the straight, you know, he was looking great.
Right, true.
And that was he just had to continue.
Well, he said he needed to prove the haters wrong. He said you all say he should go to 30.
But he would still.
That he needed to prove you wrong. He needed to silence you. So he had to stop to silence him.
He could have run through.
Get the qualifying time.
And still, Zuri, he could have run through and then still put up his finger. It would have.
Get the qualifying time. So him not the qualifying time.
I agree because now you just add to the fire, because now you do that. All people going to do is talk about how silly that was now. So you're just adding to the fire of the haters that you say you have.
All
Yeah.
you need have to do, run the race properly and run through the line. And it done. Simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No.
you do that to add to your haters, because they're going to be saying, see, this is precisely why we say you must go Turkey. Well, I've never heard anybody say that, but he says people have been saying is he must go Turkey, so.
He must go Turkey. And wait, him not 30 odd.
No, Turkey.
No, I mean him age, him not 30 odd.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
he's over 30.
Yes, I mean, I know how many more years he would really have in a 400 meter.
No,
Remember,
that's just talk. That's just social media talk.
No, he's saying people were saying instead of the athletes that went.
Right.
It's
So
him that was upset.
I'm saying that's social media talk.
Okay, can remind me of when the youth, remember my youth, Brandon Simpson? Him need go, I must
Qatar.
tell you. Yeah,
he went to Qatar.
Yeah, man, they could have run, you know. I mean, I said, boy, I'm just coming on an era where I'm just decide.
But I really wish Brandon would probably tell us of his experience there, especially in light of what is happening now. I just want to hear from somebody who did it, what it was like.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I did like a reading up on Turkey.
Yes.
And it seems to be a pretty decent country. I mean, I'm not talking about from their way back, way back, but in terms of their current, international relations and so on, it is not it's not like a dictatorship. I don't remember what the government is, but it seems like a reasonable country. In fact, recently I even saw where they were helping some African countries in a particular issue, and I'm saying they don't seem like an awful country. We sometimes don't know much about the Middle Eastern countries and how they operate.
Yeah, but Stewie, there's also a report that someone found about their athletics program there that's not so good either, in terms of their administration, in terms of what's happening there. So
no, well, that's a different thing. They obviously have chosen the route of buying rather than developing.
Yeah, and I get that, but when you buy, how do you develop if there's nothing to maintain and to develop? I mean,
no, well, maybe they hope that when they get a few medals, they will inspire some of the locals to try it. Everybody has a different approach. Everybody has a different approach to how they go about this. But I don't see how I would feel proud of an achievement. And I say this in the same way, that we have our local schools going overseas to recruit, to win champs. I don't feel the same. I feel more satisfaction with Calabar, who I can say them never go by nobody overseas. We recruit locally.
Yes, Chewy. Yes.
We recruit locally. That is par for the course. If you don't recruit locally, even at primary, and we don't even call that recruiting anymore. But I mean, like Seville came from another school to Calabar.
Homewood.
But we fine-tuned his prowess and
really?
helped to make him. Yes, we did.
Which is why Calabar is still upset with him for leaving 1 year early.
No, man. I wouldn't say we're upset with him. The fact is that what has been happening more, and in fact, somebody told me that a lot of the athletes who have decided not to go to their second, because remember, they wanted to say it for even the guy Kwame, I can't pronounce his name, so I'd have to remember it every time.
Duwaji and Krumi. Right.
In other words, it has become a trend from Batman. If you remember Batman was another case.
Yeah,
where
Ramon Mackenzie.
Right. And what apparently happens in this case is the agents who are there on the sidelines lurking to try and grab these people. And even with the O'Hara, those are the people who influence these people to either leave early or to try and rope them into, because that is what is happening. And in a sense, that has been the case. In fact, Kerika Hill, I'm so glad that she has come back around. that was one of the reasons why she also went to turn pro prematurely. These people are lurking on the sidelines like vultures. I don't know. I don't know a better way to. I don't know a better word to describe it. But I can only. That's the only word I can find. And we need to put some kind of because they are the ones who are influencing and waving these money offers and so on. And that is one of the things. That's one of the problems right now in our track and field. Right?
Is it similar to NCAA? Because I know me is a sports person where I love NFL, college football. So I go back to the university when them did that in the 80s and early 90s. I see them recruitment thing, where the man them usually get the youths them from out of Florida and get them to the U. And when the U beat up everybody, the man them start after a while come up with this thing with this man who they said did some business that wasn't right. But it was money,
Well, they that has been around. They have certain rules. They have certain rules, and there are people who try and go around the rules. So and there's big money in the college sports. So
Yes,
the incentives are even greater. It's just one of those things.
So what I think form a group and kind of really in these agents, because trust me, athletes careers, as I heard the lady say, getting a subject is good, but track and field is really a selfish sport, It's usually
why is it a selfish sport?
Well,
what you mean by that? Just tell me.
All right, it's the best of the best from as early as basic school now, go right up to high school. You're training many times. You're out there alone, and when you do,
so no, I wonder why you said selfish. That's all I'm trying to figure out.
No, it's the rewards are great, but it's more of you as an individual. So that's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, the rewards are not as great when you compare to other sports, and in fact, unless something is done to reward track athletes, and I mean not just Jamaicans. We have to do our thing here and see how much better we can do for ours. But generally speaking, track athletes are the most poorly compensated for compared to people in another sport. But I think part of the problem is when you have a basketball league that's playing week in, week out for 4 to 5 months or 6 months. Sponsors can track the eyeballs on the sport, and therefore they are attracted and will pay good money, and television will pay big money in order to cover these things. Track has not, because the sport is different, track has not managed to find its the formula that will keep people, week after week after week. It's not a league. So, and then the other thing is, you have so many events. This is a question that's gonna come up in the future. Like Zuri say that this particular meet has 28 events. I'd like to see how that compares to the number of events that we do at World Championships. But the fact is that we have so many events, and if you have three medal winners, and plus usually you give cash prize, some cash remuneration to the finalists. Let's say you have 8 finalists, and you have even 28 or 30 something events. You have a lot of people to pay, whereas the other sports, you don't quite have that kind of thing. Plus, you have more money to divide. So the economics of track and field is a bit different. Europe has a better formula, you could say, because more people go to track meets. I mean, when you look at the meets in Europe, even if it's not Diamond League, stadium full.
Sure, right. Yeah,
You know?
still full. Yeah, man.
Opposed to Jamaica, where we have a weekend of trials where it's only grandstand and it's still can't full.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, yes. The
Well,
weekend
you know,
trials.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is the same people who are saying, "Oh, we need to do more for them. We need to pay more for." How many? When last you bought a ticket?
Well, you know, it's. I mean, let's face it. The economics is different, and I think track and field as a whole has to find a better way.
But the rights that they use in NBA, NFL, and EPL, English Premier League.
Yeah, that's broadcast rights. Yes.
Yes, that makes a bag of money. So I'm
Yeah.
saying that here we had Sebastian Coe, what's up? All right. So before Sebastian Coe, remember, in a football, my favorite sport. From in the early 90s, the man them decide after them move from Division 1 to English Premier League. So boy, let's try this thing. And from the man them try this thing with the TV rights. Clubs them and everybody I get a bag of money. So may I say, the forward thinking that we got Sebastian Coe, who was trying to open up all of these things. How is it that, except for Europe, as me and Sue always talk, where you have serious, meat sold out, how the rights hasn't really sold off? Because we have Olympics and World Championships now, and then we have the Diamond League, and now we have the Grand Prix. So we do have a calendar full from January to December of track and field events. But
But in America, they believe the only time track run is at Olympics.
But them same one, but the athletes in the NCAA, the Division 1 and Division 2, when them want to win, when the universities them want to win and have bragging rights.
Well, I'm only saying, I'm glad that even at the college level, the economics has changed. So you can, the athletes who are all along being exploited, even though they're getting an education, they now have this name and likeness that they can benefit from. So they are better compensated for all that they have been doing. Anyway, I'm going to play some music. Unless there's anything else.
No man, that's it. Oh yes, Chewy. The as I was saying, the young crop coming up, yeah man, it all a good for us. If we can keep them together, I hope that Turkey don't buy out anymore. I think we'll continue on a good trend. But I'm really disappointed with the men with the 400. And whatever happened to the 4x1? Is which one of them? A gentleman said didn't qualify or hasn't qualified yet.
The 4x1 didn't qualify at World Release.
Was the 4x1?
Yeah, the 4x4 men qualified.
Oh.
And no, sorry, the 4x4 women. I get it mixed up now. But the 4x1
which one qualified?
4x1 did not qualify, but the 4x4 men qualified.
Okay.
And then the 4x4 women did not qualify because most of our top girls who even ran in the trials were not there. So the 4x4 women didn't qualify. So those are the two teams that need to qualify between now and September. Or now and I think they have until August, some date in August. So that is the situation. But it's possible, Certainly we have the 4x1 team to do it. So that should, let's say that should happen.
Yeah, that should really happen, man. That should really happen.
All right, let me just cut this.
Music. Yeah, man.
Okay, guys. I will